Hello again. Well, this is interesting. One of my viewers, the one that I talk about quite often, that sends me a lot of pertinent information, just sent me an interesting article on showbot.com. And the title is pretty much self-explanatory. Hillary's connection to the Muslim Brotherhood and her multiple private emails with her Muslim assistant Huma Abedin is being investigated for Muslim Brotherhood connections. The article is most interesting and a little bit frightening. I've said it countless times that when Hillary was traveling the world with Huma, they spent 4 years together. And if you look at Hillary's actions, she ended up sending hundreds of millions of dollars to Hamas and to who knows who else. She was also, I believe, instrumental in helping to fan the flames of the Arab Spring, which ended up removing a president of Egypt, Mubarak, who was there for over 30 years, who had a very good, close working relationship with not only the United States, but Israel as well. You all know what happened with that, with Mohammed Morsi, and he's now in jail and will probably be executed. But that's a different story. And if you viewed me in the past, I spoke about Huma Abedin and her family. Her mother is a leading member of the women's version of the Muslim Brotherhood. Her brother is also in the Muslim Brotherhood, and her father was one of the leaders before he passed of the Muslim Brotherhood. Can we therefore assume that a certain amount of Muslim Brotherhood rubbed off on Hillary Rodham Clinton? I'm inclined to think so. And now what they're saying is, under the Freedom of Information Act, requested by Judicial Watch, we might learn a great deal more. The concern is that we've also already been told that Hillary's used multiple email accounts. The question is, were some of those accounts done intentionally so she could communicate with Huma Abedin and other Muslim Brotherhood members without being concerned? Might that explain why she has her own server, or had her own server, so she could scrub whatever needed to be scrubbed and no one would know that it was scrubbed? The truth is, she doesn't know what other people do know. Because what we've been able to determine is hackers did penetrate her server. Do I think she's going to be a contender for the Oval Office, assuming the Oval Office becomes vacant with this present occupier, which I highly doubt? I'm inclined to think not. I think there's a very good chance that if we had a government that wasn't corrupt, if we had a Supreme Court that wasn't corrupt, if we had justices on the Supreme Court that weren't one-sided, if we had a Department of Justice that wasn't corrupt. There's a whole lot of ifs. But if we had any one of those, I think there's a real good chance that Hillary Rodham Clinton would find herself in prison for the rest of her miserable life, if not worse. Giving foreign aid, giving aid to the enemies of America is an act of treason. Obama's committed countless acts of treason in that regard. I believe so has Hillary. Will justice ever be carried out? Well, not as long as the chosen one with the floppy ears is allowed to remain in power. Read the article. It's most interesting. And again, she has been hacked. The question is, what did the hackers learn? And are they going to provide all that information? And even if they did, does anybody really care when we know that justice is not blind? When we know that we have a corrupt Supreme Court? When we know that we have a corrupt Department of Justice? when we know we have a corrupt FBI and a corrupt IRS? The whole thing is a sewer. And it's become one based on Obama's transformation of America. That's sort of what I think. Read the article. Let me know what you think.